Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Now, while we may feel like we are in control of our lives, the fact of the matter is the vast majority of our lives we live on autopilot. That is to say that the vast majority of our actions are driven by our habits. In fact, studies show that as much as 40% of our day-to-day actions are driven by habit, not careful thought and consideration. So it's clear that habits have a big impact on our lives, and that's the same with our money habits. They have a big impact on how we spend our money, save our money, and even invest our money. You can have money habits that help you become wealthy, or money habits that are keeping you poor. Today, I want to go over those common money habits that I see people have that are keeping them poor, or at least holding them back from building wealth. Your habits have a powerful influence on your life. It is very important to be aware of what your habits are and how they are affecting you in your everyday life, and especially your money habits, because they are going to dictate if you become wealthy, if you're just scraping by, or if you're driving yourself into debt. So without further ado, let's dive into these common money habits that keep you poor. Money habit number 1, not being knowledgeable about your money. No one is ever going to care about your money more than you do. So you owe it to yourself to be financially literate, to understand your money, and to take care of your money. At the most basic level, you want to be following a budget. You want to know all of your income sources, how much money you're making, where that money is coming from, and also on the flip side, where that money is going, what all of your expenses are. And you want to be doing this every single month. With a budget, you are in control of your money rather than your money controlling you. There are several different types of budgets out there. Just choose the one you like and stick to it. I have several videos on budgets. There are spreadsheets, websites, apps. You can find one, pick the one you like, and stick to that. You want to be completely organized with your finances, and this means going beyond a budget. This means you're going to be looking into your credit card accounts on a regular basis, checking those transactions and making sure they're accurate, checking the balances of these statements, looking into your checking account as well as your savings accounts. What about your investments? You need to be checking on those regularly too, maybe once a month or at least quarterly. You want to know where you stand financially. Same goes with your debt. And there's actually many ways you can do this in a convenient manner. There are sites where you can link all of your financial accounts in just one spot. There are sites like Mint. They have a secure site where you can link all of your accounts, credit card, savings, checking, investments, etc. And you can see everything all in one place. Alternatively, you can create your own spreadsheets and you can keep records. It does require a little bit more work, but hey, some of us like to be a little bit nerdy with money, and that's just fine. The point is, you should have a very clear picture of your money and your finances at any given point in time. At no point should you ever look at yourself and say, I have no idea what is happening in any of my accounts. I have no idea how much money I have, where it's going, etc. and so forth. That is a recipe for financial disaster. Money habit number 2, putting yourself last. A new month start, and so does all your bills. We have the mortgage or rent, car payment, insurances, internet. Your boyfriend has a birthday, or you promised your kids that you would get them new sporting equipment. The list goes on. There is always someone or something asking for your dollar. Wealthy people do not put other people's needs ahead of their own. Instead, wealthy people pay themselves first, whereas poor people tend to pay themselves last with whatever is left over after they've already taken care of everyone else's needs. If you do that, you might find that there's just too much month and not enough money. Treat your money like you would the airline mask. You put your mask on first before you assist anyone else. The very best way to do this is to make it automatic. Set up an automatic withdrawal from your checking account the same day or the day after you get your paycheck. On that day, have that money withdrawn, put into your savings account or your investment account before you ever get a chance to see it, let alone spend it. Money habit number 3, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Remember, no matter who you are, there is always someone who's going to make more money than you and therefore can spend more money than you. In today's society, with Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, we are constantly being bombarded with people who are wearing the latest fashions, have the absolute latest technology, or are taking phenomenal vacations. But Remember, what you're seeing is a highlight reel. So whether these are people you actually know personally or people you just simply follow virtually, you have no idea what their finances truly look like. You don't know if they're driving themselves deep into debt to support this fancy lifestyle online, or if they're perhaps receiving assistance from the bank of mom and dad, as so many 20 and 30-year-olds out there do. You have no idea what their finances look like. In fact, 37% of millennials regularly report receiving assistance from their parents. A full 59% report receiving assistance just a handful of times a year. And you always have to keep in mind that there really are people out there who are willing to drive themselves into debt just to support some kind of fancy lifestyle that they can promote on Instagram. You don't want to be one of those people. You have to remember that your financial journey is unique to you. Your budget, your savings, your investing, that is your own personal journey. If you are constantly being surrounded by friends who live in bigger houses, have nicer cars, and taking nicer vacations, you have to be aware that at some point that may start to influence your lifestyle and you may start to go into debt. Or if you have friends who are constantly inviting you to go to fancy restaurants or partake in activities that you can't particularly afford that month, say it doesn't fit in your budget, you have to be willing to tell them no, that it does not work for you that month. If they are truly your friend, they will understand and they will support you on your financial goals. Your friends, as always, should want the best for you. Remember that playing keeping up with the Joneses is a loser's game. There will always be someone out there who can spend more than you. You don't have to try and keep up. Remember, the goal for you is to live a life that is meaningful and brings you the greatest happiness, and work on your own personal financial goals. They are not anyone else's goals. Habit number 4, paying extra. Nobody wants to pay more than necessary, but if you adopt this sort of blasé attitude with finance, that's exactly what can happen. For example, if you don't pay attention to when your bills are due, you can be hit with late fees and interest charges. There's late fees on rent payments and utilities, credit cards, as we all know, or even taxes if you don't pay them on time. Or say you're not paying attention to the balance of your checking account and you overdraft your account. Guess what? You're going to be hit with a fee. All of these fees and interest charges add up, and they can add up very quickly if you're not paying attention. Or perhaps say you get home from work every single Monday, totally exhausted, and even though you have a fridge full of food because say you do your grocery shopping over the weekend, you can't be bothered to cook. Simply, you are just that exhausted. It's much easier to pick up your phone and order something from, say, Uber Eats, right? Well, you could plan ahead. You could prepare a meal that you could simply throw in the microwave and reheat, and voila, you have dinner in just a couple minutes and you saved yourself those $40 delivery charges from Uber Eats. Have a plan and prepare, and that way you don't have to spend extra money just for convenience. Habit number 5, buying things we don't need. Now, we all buy things we don't need from time to time. Of course we do, we're human. Unless you are an absolute bare bones minimalist and you know how to go through life without spending any extra, I am so jealous. Please teach me your ways. But one day, my friend and I, we went to Target. We pulled in and she said to me, I don't know what I need here today. I'm gonna let Target tell me what I need. I thought it was a cute statement. I laughed, but that kind of attitude taken too frequently can actually hurt your finances. Or look at stores like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. Has anyone ever actually needed anything from there? I actually just got back from there about 10 minutes ago, and let me tell you, I have never had a trip to TJ Maxx or Marshalls that I got anything I absolutely needed. Everything I got there, I could have totally lived without. But I did pick up these heavenly hunk chocolate chip cookies that are so amazing. No, they're not a need, but they're delicious. My point is, you get things you don't need all of the time. It's fine to occasionally buy things you don't need. I'm not saying that we have to have this militant attitude of only necessities. However, if we're not careful, we can far too often buy things we don't need, and that can really have a negative impact on our budget. For example, let's say you just buy something because it's on sale. At that point, you're not really saving money. It doesn't matter how good the sale was. If you were never going to buy that item anyway, well, now you just wasted that money on a sale. Or every time you add an extra item to your cart just to get free shipping. Did you really need that extra item? Maybe you could have waited to place your order when you actually needed something else. Or for those people who sign up for new credit cards and they want to get those sign up bonuses, and perhaps they put some things on their credit card that they didn't actually need, but they had to hit a certain spending limit. I am all for credit cards and taking advantages of those sign up bonuses. Free shipping is amazing. Sales are amazing, but you don't want to buy things you don't need just to take advantage of a sale or just to get free shipping or, heaven forbid, just to get that extra bonus cash from a credit card. Only buy things you truly need. Don't throw in an extra $10, $20, $30 every single time you make a purchase just for the heck of that free shipping. Number 6, not being prepared for an emergency. An alarmingly high percentage of Americans are ill-prepared for even a couple $100 emergency. Without having an emergency fund, money that you can turn to when something inevitably comes up in life, many people resort to credit cards, and at an interest rate of 18%, this is a really scary place to start building up debt. Emergencies happen because, well, life happens, and the very best thing you can do to protect yourself is set some money aside in this emergency fund. The best place to start is start by saving up $1,000. $1,000 will cover many emergencies that do come up, but obviously you're going to want to build this up a little. Build it up to cover at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Then you know you're in a safe place. And remember, don't touch that emergency fund unless you actually have an emergency. Habit number 7, waiting to save. Now, I know I talk about this one a lot on this channel, but it bears repeating. Delaying your start to savings makes it dramatically harder to build wealth. The longer you wait to save, the more you are going to have to save in order to reach your goals. If you started saving at 20 years old and say you wanted to be a millionaire at 65, you would have to save just $200 a month. If you started at 30, you would have to save $450 a month. If you started at 40, you would have to save $1,100 a month to hit that same $1 million at 65 years old. And here's where things get really interesting. If you were that 20-year-old who started saving that $200 a month, by the time your investments were worth $1 million, you would only have contributed just over $100,000 of your own money. The rest came from interest returns in the market. If you started at 30 and you were doing that $450 a month, you would have contributed just under $200,000 to get that $1 million nest egg. And if you would have waited until you were 40, contributing that $1,100 a month, you would have put in over $300,000 of your own money. So the longer you wait, the more you have to contribute of your own money. The harder you have to work to make that million. Otherwise, you start earlier, you can invest less, your money does more of the legwork. Number 8, being complacent about debt. Now, I'm not a huge fan of debt. I'm no Dave Ramsey, but I just don't like owing anyone anything. But with that said, I do believe that there is a time and place that you can responsibly use debt. Debt can help you to buy a home, or it can help you to buy a car to get to and from work, or it can help you pay for school, which can help you get a job to pay for your life. But with all that being said, I think most people are too quick to take on and accept debt. I think you would do yourself a great service if you just paused before considering accepting any debt. I think there's a lot to be said for living a debt-free lifestyle. I truly don't think most 18-year-olds understand the consequence of tens or even $100,000 worth of student loan debt. They don't understand how that's going to impact their life when they're 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years old. Most people don't even blink an eye when the car dealership says, here's a brand new car, all you have to do is sign for this loan that goes 8 to 10 years. Newsflash, you don't need a car loan that goes that long. And if that's the loan rate you need in order to make that car affordable, it's not affordable to you. You need a lower priced car. And we also live in a society where 74% of Americans are willing to go into debt for a vacation. You should never be going into debt for a vacation. Like I said, I absolutely believe that there is good debt and there is bad debt, but I do believe that most people are willing to accept too much debt in today's society. You have to be careful with debt because getting out of control with it, it can really wreck your life. And I think a lot of people just take on debt because they look around them and they assume everyone else is taking on debt. So they say, well, if they're doing it, well, so can I. No matter the type of debt you're taking on, you want to be cautious with it. And if you don't believe me, tune into the Dave Ramsey channel. He has some horror stories that will definitely scare you into living that debt-free lifestyle. So there you have it, 8 habits that are working against you on building wealth and building a brighter financial future. If you looked at these habits and you thought, hey, I have 1 or 2 of those, don't worry, all is not lost. All you have to do is work on putting new, better habits in their place and kicking those old habits to the curb. It does take time, but remember, none of us are perfect. We are all works in progress. So just work on adopting healthier money habits and you will get there too. You can always get to your money goals no matter what point you are in life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like on the way out. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next week as I post new videos every single week. Bye.